Topic 7, Lesson 1, which is multiplying decimals by 10, 100, and 1000. Now, when you're multiplying by decimals, you're going to end up with a larger number than the number you start out with. So keep that in mind. And because of that, you're going to be moving the decimal point to the right. And you'll do it once for each zero you multiply by. So if you look at our first example right here, you'll notice that we're multiplying by 10. And in 10 there is 1 0. And so based on our rule up here, we're going to move the decimal to the right once for each zero. So since we have 1 0, we're going to move that decimal point one place over to the right. And when we do that, it ends up being behind the 4. And so when we move it over to the right, we end up with the number 74. You could put the the decimal point there because it goes there, but it's not necessary because 74 is a whole number, and we know that when we write whole numbers, we don't always put the decimal point there. So you could choose to, and if you did, you put a 0 after it, but 74 or 74.0 would be the same thing. In our second example, we have 62 thousandths times 100. And again, we're going to use the zeros that are in the 10, 100, or 1000 to determine how many places to the right we move our decimal. So if you'll look here, we've got 1, 2. So we take our decimal and we're going to move it 1 and 2. So it looks like it's going to end up between the 6 and the 2. 1, 2, and it should fit right in there. And once you move it over, your answer actually is going to change now. So instead of 62 thousandths, you have 6 and 2 tenths, or 6.2. Now we're on to our third and final example, and that is 3 and 1/10 times 1000. So again, we look at the zeros. We have 1, 2, 3 zeros, which means we're going to be moving our decimal over 1, 2, 3 places, but you'll notice we run out of numbers or digits. So what we're going to have to do is take our 3.1 and we move over 1, 2, 3, and so we have to use again those placeholders that we used way back in like the first topic this year, and we always use zeros as placeholders so that they'll keep their value. So we put our placeholders in, we move our decimal, and so we have, instead of 3 and 1/10, we now have 3,100. And again, you have the option, you could put a decimal point at the end of 3,100, but it's not necessary because we generally don't put decimals after our whole numbers. Now hopefully you see a pattern there, and based on whether you have 10, 100, or 1000, you should be able to figure out the product. If you're having a problem with it, feel free to rewind this video or move it around so you can see any part of this again. That will help you out. And once you feel comfortable, go ahead and take the quiz.